Hey, what's going on, guys? It's me, Jedi. So, you already know how this whole week we've been talking about the two main things that are basically like turning our entire world upside down, which basically are Black Lives Matter and the coronavirus. So, of course, we have to make one where we combine them together and see what they're doing to each other. So, today I'm talking to you guys about the coronavirus situation before the protest and after the protest and what exactly is happening between both of them. So, let's go. All right. So, I want to start off with both of them separately, like I always do. So, we have the protests, which basically means that everybody gets together, right? So, they go to places together, they do questionable activities, and they do other things together. And of course, we have the peaceful protesters who do follow the rules. They stay 6 feet, they wear the masks, and they follow the rules to some extent, right? But it's still a gathering, and how far can you really go with that 6 feet distance and masks? How far is it going to help you when you're gathering with people when you're not supposed to be, right? So that's basically like the protests, because those are happening in our countries, and that's basically what's going on. So we can't really change that until the protests stop. And the other side with the coronavirus, where they said you need to wear masks and you need to be 6 feet or apart from other people, and you cannot have any gatherings because that's how the virus spreads. It's through the air. And so these protesters are not being tested, right? Because we don't have testing kits going around and testing the protesters, so we don't know if they have COVID or we don't know if they're transmitting it to each other. So at the end of the day, COVID could be spreading through them. And Gavin Newsom, the governor, actually said that it's pretty much going to spread all over, and it's going to spread more because the fact that they're protesting. And most of these protesters, even though they do wear masks, how far is it going to help them when they're protesting for 3 hours or 4 hours? And when people are looting the stores, we see in the videos that they're not really wearing masks. And even if they're wearing masks, they're wearing like the scarves kind of masks, which don't really like help as well as the N96 or as the other masks. But of course they're wearing masks, so it's okay. But since they're gathering and since they're not being 6 feet apart, because you can't really be 6 feet apart if you're like, standing next to each other, holding signs. And we see in these protests that they're not 6 feet apart. So of course they're touching each other, they're talking to each other, and they got to fix their mask or take their mask off, and they're using their hands, they're touching their face. So they do all these things, and we have the tear gas, right? So when the tear gas goes in, they have to take off the mask. And when they're running, the mask might fall off. And there's so many different things that can happen to where the masks might not stay on their face. And the minute that the mask leaves your face, it's gone. There's no more benefit of the mask because you're basically already breathing in the air and you're basically done. So there's no way for the protesters to be 100% safe unless they stay at home, which they're not doing, and they want to fight. And of course, I agree. We have to fight for the justice for George Floyd. But is it really the best time to do it right now? Of course, the protesters might say that, yeah, now's the time because we've been waiting too long. And sure, I agree with that. But right now we have a bigger cause, and that's coronavirus, which is basically stopping the entire world from functioning. So I don't know if it's the best idea for the protesters to protest. And me personally, of course, I support Black Lives Matter, and I support All Lives Matter because I think all lives do matter. But do I necessarily believe that we should be protesting right now? Probably not. Looting stores, definitely never. But if we are going to protest and if we're going to do it peacefully, then I do believe we should do it at a time when we don't have a pandemic that's going on in our world. And I also do believe that we should do it at a time when we actually can, or we should do it at a time when everybody can respond to only that, so you get more attention towards it, and not when we have a pandemic like this. That's basically my take on it, guys. So, guys, if you want to protest, that's great. Make sure you wear a mask. Don't touch that mask. Make sure you're 6 feet apart. And just try your best to not protest. Because if you are going to protest, there's a chance that you might get it. So if you are really worried about getting the coronavirus, then my best advice to you is to just stay at home and protest peacefully. Other than that, guys, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you guys go like, subscribe, and follow me on Instagram at Jedi.Solomon. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys tomorrow with a new video. Bye.